really religious, if we were all truth seekers and seekers of truth only in God or in gods, I don't think we'd have science at all. I think we would have settled for religion and said, that's it. And we never would have bothered to discover things like physical principles, the fact that the earth is in the center of the universe, fossils, evolution, and whether or not you believe in any of these things, we would never have even been interested in them. And if we'd found them, then all of society altogether, historically to this point and until the end of time, if that ever happens, would have repressed any other kind of discovery.
Like 30 seconds in, and I already know that this kid is setting himself up to get destroyed by Cliffe. If we weren't spiritually inclined, I think is what he said, or faith inclined, and that, to an extent, that's true. The Bible does tell us that our hearts yearns for God, right? Even though we may not know him, we yearn for that relationship that we lost in the Garden of Eden.
But I think history proves, at least in Western culture and in Eastern culture too, that over time, the success of science and inquiry at producing better and longer lives for humans, which ultimately is what we're all after, has sort of begun to erode belief in religion.
By the way, he's wrong already. We've seen this decline that we've had in our lives in general in the West when it comes to religion and being part of a religious group, and that has led to an increase of depression. People are more lost than ever before. They're more suicidal than ever before. So as of now, this departure from God has already been proven to be terrible for humanity.
All right. It's very, very simple, sir. Really simple. Modern science began within the context of a biblical worldview. Johann Kepler, the father of modern astronomy, as he peers out into the stars at night, exclaims, "Oh God, I am thinking your thoughts after you." Galileo wrote, "The Bible does not tell us how the heavens go, but how to go to heaven." Science is a study of process. The Bible insists there's a creator who's created in an orderly way. This creator has given us rational minds, and we, by exercising our rational minds, can do good science.
Where does the Bible say that?
Throughout, from Genesis to Revelation.
The Bible talks about science?
No, the Bible doesn't mention the word science, but the Bible mentions the words mind, creator, work, thinking, discovery. So the Bible attacks this idea that if you're really religious, you're not going to use your mind.
The Bible demands that we get to know intellectually this God that we serve and practically understand. Apologetics in and of itself is you being able to give a reason for your faith, right? That takes study, that takes understanding, that takes critical thinking, that takes you being able to know the difference between a history book and a poetic book, between the difference between a philosophical book, which you have, and a historical book, right? These are all things that you need to learn in order to be able to understand the Bible.
I can promise you, sir, there is no contradiction between science, pure science, which is a study of process, and faith in Christ. The contradiction, sir, is between a branch of the philosophy of science espoused by a man like Carl Sagan, Stephen Gould at Harvard. That philosophy of science teaches behind the order of the cosmos, there is no intelligent mind. It came about by chance and fate. But, sir, that is not science. That is a philosophical position.
Right. But true science, which seeks understanding, the process of creation, it complements rather than contradicts faith, right? By embracing both faith and reason, we can navigate the complexities and foster the deeper understanding of the world that's around us, of the world that we live in today. So I think it's complete nonsense for you to say, oh, well, if you're religious, then you're giving up your mind or your rational thought. In fact, you need to marry the two in order to be able to get a clear understanding of the world. People that brought up the notion of science of studying the world came from a biblical worldview that says there is order and design to this world. So we should be able to understand these things that are happening around us because they come from a rational mind, right? If things were just random, then there wouldn't be any true conclusion, any real way to study what we see here in the world. So I thought that this was an interesting video to share with you guys. Let me know what you think. Have you ran into these types of arguments, and how do you respond to them? It's always just want to remind you that we must persevere. Peace.